What's up, everybody? We are back for a jam-packed episode of Fireflies Forever. Man, do we have a lot to talk about this evening. We were just chatting about it before going live and just how much stuff happened last night and just how great the night was. So we will be talking about that shortly. But let me bring on Chris and Joe. So Joe, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great, man. I really, I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. It is a pleasure to be here today, and obviously with the happiness comes some sadness, of course. And Chris will obviously talk about that a bit. But yeah, it was just a wonderful night, and I couldn't ask for anything better. And I'm happy to be here to share it with everybody.
Absolutely, man. And Chris, how's it going, man?
Doing okay. It was a super emotional night, like you said. We'll definitely talk about it, but I'm definitely excited to be here talking about it with you guys.
Likewise, I'm excited to chat with the two of you, and then the other part of our show, which is our chat. So everyone in chat, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Because I forget this all the time, and I'm thinking about it right now. If you don't mind, please drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, first off, welcome. And we'd love to have you be a part of our family. So hit that subscribe button and hit that post notification bell. All right. So we're going to get into it. And as we do weekly, we're going to start out with some memories. And I got to tell you, I love this. So Chris, take it away.
So, had a busy weekend. Me and Logan took a couple little mini trips, and the first one we went to a Brandon Lake concert on Saturday night that Jodie was supposed to go to with us. I bought the tickets months and months ago, but me and Logan went anyway, just us, and he was super excited about it. Brandon Lake's like his favorite singer, so he was jumping up and down and singing along to it and stuff, and it was cool. It was definitely rough, though. I definitely missed her not being there, but it was still cool to go to, especially to see him so happy about it. He absolutely loved it. We drove to Louisville for that on Saturday night. And then we got back about 12:30 on Saturday night from that. We just drove down and back, and then got up Sunday morning and drove to Columbus, Ohio, to do another little trip. And we got into Columbus here and stopped for lunch, and I found this, which was one of Jodie's absolute favorite restaurants, called Bojangles. It's maybe a southern place, but they just built one in Columbus, Ohio. It's the furthest north I've ever seen one. So we had to stop there and eat, and just just thinking about her. We used to go to that place a lot. And then I took Logan to a place called Legoland there in Columbus.
Oh yeah.
And he just absolutely loved it. Lego was one of his favorite things to play with. That was a big reason why we went there, because I found out they had that place there, and we would love to go there and do that. And then so we did that on Sunday and got a hotel there in Columbus and stayed the night. And then on Sunday we went to the Columbus Zoo and spent the day there before driving back Sunday, and saw Jodie's favorite animal, polar bear, there. Got closer than I've ever been to one. I mean, there was just a little piece of glass between us and that polar bear as he was chewing on that bottle. I thought that was really cool, and just, it reminded me of her, because she has a couple of stuffed polar bears that I held on to that she liked. That was always her favorite animal. And Logan wanted to get a picture with behind it there. It's hard to see, but there's some penguins. That's his favorite animal. He wanted to get a picture in front of the penguins. So yeah, it was a nice little trip with me and him. Have never really gotten to do anything like that with just me and him. So it was a cool little father-son trip that we got to take. Just thought I would share all that with you, especially since there's a few things that reminded me of Jodie on it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for sharing. These are awesome. Like, I absolutely love seeing these pictures. And as soon as I saw the Bojangles one, Jodie and I, because we're from the South, would often talk about how we miss Bojangles.
Yep. Oh, We one time drove down to Louisville to go to the boat. That's the closest boat angle to here. We're like, it's like an hour and a half each way to took to a really boat angle.
It's that good too. I mean, I love boat
it
angles.
is.
So, so thank you as always for sharing this, and really glad that you and Logan got that time to be able to spend with each other. And
yeah, I wanted to do something with him before he's getting ready to go back to school next week. So I wanted to do something with him before he started school.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And what grade is he going to be in this year?
First grade.
First grade. That's right. It's awesome, man. Awesome stuff. So we're gonna go to the next one of Jodie's other favorite things, which is artwork. Listen, we want you to submit artwork, folks. So I know we say this every week, and we're going to keep doing that because we want that artwork. So send it in, folks. All right, so we got a few things this evening. I'll make these bigger so folks can see. So we got this first one.
I wanted to include if it had information about the artist, I wanted to include that on there too.
Yeah.
That awesome is fantastic.
I know, that is so cool. It's like an
Tales from the Crypt, that looks like. Yep. And man, that brings back memories, man. I used to read those books back in the day. So man, that's amazing. What a great job.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Really cool. You could totally see that being a thing. Like,
you know what I mean? Badass comic to do.
Really would.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. This one is awesome too.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow.
Black Mask.
He does great work.
Yeah. Really does.
Wow.
He got a tattoo this evening.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, man, that is one of the best moth tattoos that I've seen anybody get. It was so good.
Yeah, and I love the quote around it, and
yeah, that's very
awesome.
Cool. Very
awesome.
Cool.
Then I got a few more. So if you watch SummerSlam, first off, you had a great evening because wow, what a show! It was really good. But second off, you saw at the beginning during one of the kind of the pre-show things, they had a t-shirt design competition, and Jessie Callan actually entered that. So she sent me some of her designs, and I just thought we could share it here because she's a part of the family. So but this is awesome.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. I think I saw it on her Twitter. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like the character designs and the letters and things like that. It looks very, very 3D-ish and stuff. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And thank you to all the talented artists that put their artwork out there. I mean, we got some talented folks out there doing some great work. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Well, I'm going to go into some of the questions that I was thinking of for today, but I want to start here since we were having a conversation about it before we went live, and I'll start with Chris. Just your thoughts on Raw last night, and obviously the Wyatt Sicks segments, but just your overall thoughts on Raw, and then just kind of talk about everything that we got up to the match in terms of Wyatt Sicks segments.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking after that Raw, like I can't imagine a Raw being much better than that. I can't imagine what they could have done differently to make it that a better 3 hours of entertaining, wrestling entertainment. Like it was great. I loved everything about it, between besides obviously all the Wyatt Sicks stuff, the CM Punk, Seth and Drew stuff was great. The Bronson Reed attacking Seth was awesome. Never seen him do anything like that, recently. And yeah, it was just great.
Yeah, it really was a great night. Joe, your thoughts, man?
You know what I liked about it was that it was very unpredictable. People were thinking that it was going to be one thing, right? Like everybody figured, oh, yeah, we're going to see the breakup of the Judgment Day. We're going to see Rhea beat up Liv. We're going to see, but there was a lot of unexpected. Like I knew Randy and I knew Randy and Gunther were going to have another match because of what happened with the last one, but I didn't think he was going to come out on Raw. He's not really a Raw superstar. He's from SmackDown, so I didn't see that coming. The Bronson Reed thing, like Chris mentioned, did not see that coming at all. I thought for sure Seth was going to have a match with Punk. Is the way it was looking. But they're probably going to save that for down the road. That'll probably be maybe Rumble or Mania next year. Who knows? But, yeah, that was completely unexpected. And I was way wrong about last night, too. And I think it was James Grant mentioned on Twitter saying that they were going to be the main event last night and stuff like that. And I said, man, I just don't know. Like, there's so much stuff they need to talk about after SummerSlam. I don't know if they're going to main event, but they did the entire show around it. They talked about the past. They talked about when it happened. It's the anniversary, and they kept having the clips and stuff. And they just did an absolutely amazing job of it. And I guess now that people are asking about why it wasn't on SummerSlam, now you know why.
Yep.
They had a plan, guys. They had a plan.
Yeah, which, we can say in previous regimes that wasn't always the case. So there's some thought into this.
We've been burned a lot on that. So
yes. So I get it, but there's some thoughtfulness and planning, I believe, and we'll get to some of that for sure. But I want to talk about Gacy's video briefly here. Heather saying, I just wish Gacy's voice wasn't so mutilated. I had a hard time catching this whole segment. So what do you think about the video and kind of what we got? We'll start with Joe this time and then go over to Chris.
Probably the creepiest one, I think, so far. Although, Nikki without any words was pretty creepy too. But I also think I'm looking at this like, and I think C Wrestling mentioned this in his video, and I agree. I think he's going to be the one who is going to maybe progress. I love Steve's theory. He talked about how he's portraying Huskus, and Huskus is always trying to better himself. Like Huskus is always the one that was the one who he wanted to make better. And then he mentioned the Man in the Woods. And I'm like, no one else did. And I'm like, okay, like, could this be the guy, like Steve said? Is he going to be the one who changes? Will he be the one who eventually morphs into something else? I think you could see more of that down the line. Now, I don't think he's going to, I agree with C on this too. I don't think he's going to be the Fiend. But maybe he can end up being a character called Man in the Woods and do something completely different. But, maybe wear a mask at a different point in time. So, but again, down the road, I don't think that'll be anytime soon. But I just thought it was interesting that he made that reference. I've accepted the Man in the Woods. And no one else had mentioned that before. So I think that's the biggest takeaway I had from it.
Chris, what about that? You agree with Joe there, or what were your thoughts on the video?
Yeah, I shout out to C too, because that video he did was awesome.
Yeah, he did.
Loved the stuff he said. Yeah, I thought that too. The fact that he said that you opened your heart to the Man in the Woods, and he also said there at the end, "Let us in." So yeah, I definitely, we'll see what the future holds. I think that they definitely put that in there. That could be a long-term storytelling tease down the road. Who knows? Maybe he could portray the Fiend down the road, or maybe, like you said, something else. But I definitely think they put that on purpose to tease something down the road that he could, be changing into something else. Someone else pointed out something interesting I saw on Twitter too. When they were walking to the ring, everyone was kind of doing their own thing that they normally do, but Huskus was just staring at that lantern the whole time. He just would not just would not take his eyes off the lantern. I thought that was interesting too. I definitely think that there's something brewing there that we may see way down the road. But it's cool that they to put little teases in like that, and they left themselves that door open for to have something different with down the road. Also, too, I didn't know if I caught this the second time I watched it. I didn't notice the first time when he was at the very beginning of it, when Huskus was like hunched down in the corner there. He was humming, and he's got the whole world in his hands. Thought that was a cool little detail too.
Yeah. And there was a lot of that last night that we got. A lot of those tributes and callbacks if you're paying attention and remember some different things with Bray and Brody. This man. You want to get right to the match, since I know that's what a lot of people.
I do want to talk real quick. I noticed something else I thought was really interesting. I want to talk about with the first promo they did about the Wyatt family 11-year anniversary.
Yeah.
One of the things that Bo said, and I heard it, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I know that." And I looked up to see what I thought that was from, and I was right. So he said in that promo, "Find our place on the path unwinding." That is from the Circle of Life by Elton John from the Lion King movie. I thought that was so funny that he slipped that in there talking. He's talking about circles and slipped in a line from the song "Circle of Life."
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome. But yeah, Joe, what did you think about that?
I mean, they're notorious for putting little things in, right? That these little, and that's what you and Jodie used to diagnose. You spend an hour on the show doing that, with all that little stuff that they throw in there. That's little things, and who knows? We know the circle's been out there, right? The red circle's always been a thing for Bray, and maybe we may never know exactly what he meant by that red circle. We may never know. He could have had so many different meanings for that. But yeah, it's just every bit about all of this that they did last night, at least, and I'm sure going forward it will be too, but probably not to the extent that they did last night. Every bit about that last night was a tribute to Bray, from the rocking chair at the entrance with the lamp to everything that they were doing, the moves, the Uranagi, all of that, everything they did. Was a tribute to Bray, and yeah, it's amazing, and it couldn't have been done better.
Agreed. Agreed. So you touched on the tributes throughout. I gotta say though, I got chills when and this is some of the pictures here. I got chills.
That's when I started crying right there.
Yeah. So, Chris, we'll start with you, man. Talk about the entrance, just how it hit you, and then we'll go to Joe.
Yeah, I just that image right there, like I said, that immediately just broke me right there, because that just immediately brought me back to the SmackDown right after Bray passed. That they did that same thing like that, so that was awesome to see them do that again. And then when they started out shatter, just like we've heard, with just a single note. But then as soon as it kicked, we realized it was going to play the full song. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah.
We didn't really know how their entrance would be, and it was absolute perfection. Absolute perfection.
Absolutely. They hit all the notes.
Yeah.
Sure. Joe, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, that picture you had earlier, right? The chair and everything. That's how we saw the end. That was the end, right? That's when he passed, and that's what they had on the stage was the chair and the lantern. And now, they started with that, and it's kind of like, okay, well, it's not the end. It's it's going to live on, and just like he'll live on, And so that was fantastically done. Look at the crowd. I mean, there's not a cell phone that's not shining a light in that audience.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. And yes, when they played Static, I really didn't expect that. I thought maybe they might go back to the old Wyatt theme. I thought maybe they would play something different, but they played Static, and that, look, it's what Howdy and Bray would have been doing. So that was awesome that they did, and I imagine they'll use that from now on. And yeah, just from seeing Howdy come down and kind of just sit in the chair, just like Bray used to sit in the chair when they were wrestling, right? That's how I knew when I saw that. I'm like, okay, this is the old Wyatts. When Bray used to just sit and rock during the match, maybe sometimes he'd get involved a little bit later if they needed to, but most of the time he just let them wrestle, and he sat out there and rocked, and he had the lantern, and that's what Howdy did. He just sat in the chair, and Nikki by his side was cool too.
Yeah.
Nikki just sitting like cross-legged on the floor as if she was like submissive or to him. Was pretty cool too. Like, she didn't get involved, so that's kind of neat as well. I like how they did that. But yeah, man, the entrance was like Chris said, very chill inspiring, very emotional, and I'm sure that there, like I said earlier, there wasn't anything that you can nitpick or point out that you didn't like about this.
Yeah,
from the start to the finish.
I love the way they took their masks off and all just bolted and jumped in the ring and got the match on right away too. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I want to say this too, not to cause more emotion, but I just think since we're here, we might as well talk about it. I don't think I've been able to listen to the song Shatter since Bray passed.
Me neither, and that's why it got me.
And the words hit different now, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like very different.
Yeah,
I mean it's just I think hearing it for the first time and really, like, I know I listened to the words before because I sang it all the time when it first came out. But last night was the first time this morning when I watched it was the first time it really hit me what the words are.
Cry for me, brother, right? I mean, isn't it almost like, I don't know, man. Everybody believes in different things, Jeff, but isn't it almost like that band was inspired to write this and almost it was like they wrote it for Bo, which is crazy, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's the chorus is die for me, brother.
Yep.
Know not what you've seen. Love one another.
Yep.
Know not where you've been. Lie for me, brother. Know not what you've said. Use me for cover. When things break, they shatter.
Yep. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the words just hit different.
Yep.
So, wow. So Chris, you mentioned how they came into the ring and listen, I felt like, well, I'll ask this to Joe and then we'll go to Chris. I felt like we got what we needed to see out of this group in terms of physicality and all those things. What were your thoughts?
Let me tell you something, man. Loomis was, I think, the star of this show tonight. Mm-hmm. He just absolutely showed out. Menacing stuff from him. And the moves, my God. The one where he leapt out over the thing and came, oh, my gosh, like insane. Like he really, they were saying how he was, he was in the training, in the NXT, in the training center all this time and everything. Holy cow. Like, and I love it how, and again, C mentioned this too. He played his role. He's jumping around like a buzzard. He's perched on the ropes. That's kind of what they do. They're flying around all the time. And he was playing that part. And oh my gosh, did he impress me? And Gacy too. Like we haven't seen Gacy since NXT, and he kind of left there a little bit on a bad note. People weren't really, thinking that he was going to make anything of himself and everything like that. And I got to say, man, Rowan impressed me too. Listen, Rowan's getting up there in age, man. He's beat up. His body's beat up. And he came in and looked like an absolute powerhouse. And yeah, look at that picture. I mean, look at that. And this is like the thing about Gacy too. And Heather pointed it out in the chat. There's a reason, I think, why his face is white. None of the others really are doing that. There's a reason, I think, why that is. And we'll see. But yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just it was. I think they were amazing. I think everything that they did was fantastic. And again, like I said before on this show, and many times, I'm sure I'm going to keep saying it. Nobody can say that it was too supernatural. They were not. They weren't able to be hurt. That didn't happen. They were getting hurt by the other team. There was nothing supernatural about this. This was 3 huge guys like the old Wyatt family just beating the crap out of their opponents. And so there's nothing you complain about here at all. And that part was awesome. Peeking right up at him when he was looking outside the ring. There were so many cool parts to this. But man, this is just, they really, I didn't know how this was going to go. They could have went any number of ways. We've seen so much stuff when Bray was doing the Fiend, right? We've seen so many things where, Bray would get hammered on and not really show any pain and crazy things sometimes would happen and stuff. None of that happened. And this was just a match. And they were just outstanding. And the moves, the double Uranagi on the tables, all of it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Chris, man, what did you think about all that we got last night in this match?
It's funny because I had some like expectations in my mind of how I wanted to see, would ideally like to see this match go. I didn't want it to be a squash match. Ideally, I wanted to see them get some offense in on the Wyatts, but I wanted the Wyatts to look dominant. And I feel like the pacing and everything, they hit that perfectly. I like that when the what is American Made, is that what they're called now? I like when American Made, when they did get some offense on the Wyatts, it was mostly in double and triple teaming. I like that they had to pull that out to be able to really, go after them and cause some havoc. But I love that. I thought they did such a great job with the pacing of it and everything. It felt good. The match time was good and everything. And then just very dominant, especially the finish. Absolutely love the moves they did and everything. Yeah, it was everything I was hoping it was going to be.
Yeah. Eric, what's up, Eric? Saying it was a monumental night for the Wyatt Sicks and Taylor, as well as for all his Fireflies that continue to honor Wyndham's legacy. Yeah, agreed.
Yes,
Heather saying Rowan is in it for the love, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely agree. Alicia has joined us. What's up, Alicia? Zeke saying it was such an awesome match. They did a great job. Bray Wyatt would be so proud. I'm also glad they played Shatter as the entrance theme and the whole song at that. Yeah, I agree. All right, so Chris, and then we'll go back over to Joe. What did you think of their move sets during the match? Like their different moves. I think I'm feeling like Gacy and Loomis as a tag team at some point, a standalone tag team, is going to be some trouble for the division. I think they're going to be absolutely phenomenal. But what are your thoughts on the move sets that we got last night and all the different things we saw from the group?
I love that they paid so much tribute to a lot of Bray's moves, but also put their own spin on them too, and made them their own and delivered them in different ways and stuff. And their energy during the match was awesome. They were just, especially with Dexter Loomis, like Joe said, yeah, I think he was definitely the highlight of that match. He stood out more to me than anybody. And I love that there at the end, when he did that jump off the top rope and Rowan even shoved him down onto the guy to make it more impactful. I've never seen that done before. That was really cool. And then they did the move that I loved from last week too, where Gacy picked up Loomis and slammed him onto somebody. Like, yeah, very awesome. Very, very awesome with all the moves. Loved it.
Joe, you alluded to it earlier, but I just want to get your thoughts just on the move sets and everything you've got.
Yeah, I think it was great, and I don't think we've seen the last of them. I think that might have been just a small little piece, but I do agree with you. I think Gacy and Loomis are going to be the tag team that is going to go forward. I don't honestly think that Rowan will wrestle all that much. Again, he's older. He's having knee problems. He's had issues and stuff like that. So I don't think he'll be in the ring too much. But I do think he'll come out with them, kind of be like, an enforcer and stuff on the outside. But I think going forward, I think you're going to be looking at mostly two people here, or sorry, three, who are going to wrestle mostly for them. And I think it's going to be Loomis and Gacy in the tag team division. And I think it's going to be Nikki Cross. That's going to be in the women's division. We already saw that little symbol behind, I forget which female wrestler was it behind. Dakota Kai.
Yep.
So there you go. What did Dakota Kai do? She betrayed her family. Yeah. So I do believe that's who you're going to see primarily wrestling here. Now, that's not to say that Howdy won't, but I think his matches are going to be saved for special things, like something that was really, really important to Bray. So if it ever ends up being Braun or Roman Reigns, I would think that Bo, yeah, I think that Bo would be the one to wrestle those. But otherwise, I think we're going to see a lot of this. But I think we're getting a glimpse as to what's going to happen going forward. And I think Gacy and you guys were all, before this all started, talking about titles. Well, they need to get the titles and stuff. Just pump the brakes. Just pump the brakes. Yeah. I do think that Gacy and that Gacy and Loomis will get them. I do. I think they're good enough to do that for sure. So I do think they will get the titles, and who knows? Maybe Nikki gets one too at some point. But like I said, this and the move sets, Jeff. I mean, just outstanding so far. And like I said, I don't even think we've seen the tip of the iceberg yet. I think there's going to be more of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jeremy's saying, asking here, could we get the Wyatts using like the free bird rules where you can interchange partners in and out? So, it could be Loomis and Rowan one week. It could be, Gacy and Rowan one week. I mean, they could mix it up.
I think that there's a ton of flexibility with this group. Who could wrestle in what matches? I think we definitely could see all kinds of combinations.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can get a good mixture. I think there's a lot that can be done in terms of switching up the teams, and they could honestly base it on who they're facing. If you want to be more menacing, you're going to probably put Rowan and maybe Loomis in there. There's just a lot that they can do with that.
Yeah, like say they face the Bloodline, right? You'd have you had a Solo and two of them against the three of them, so you could do 3-on-3. It's very versatile. You could go 2-on-2. You can do singles matches. Very, very versatile group, and that's what a faction should be. Like that's a faction should be that. You have the leader, and then you have the other people, and they kind of do their own thing. And now women are being included in factions. Look at TNA with Alicia. And so this is the way to go. And they could be very flexible with what they do. And it's, again.
Yeah, I felt like the Judgment Day did a good job of that. And now that they, obviously we got a new Judgment Day kind of, but I think the Wyatt Sicks are going to rise up now and they're, be one of the top factions on Raw.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Judgment Day best watch out because they now betrayed their family as well. So
and Finn already should have a mark on him.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble. Chris, what was your biggest takeaway from the match?
I would say just that it, as we've often wondered, when we first heard, going back to when we first heard this was all going to happen, that Bo was going to be doing something to carry on Bray's legacy and everything. We had no idea what we were going to eventually get, or even if it was going to be any good. There's a chance it could have fell flat and just not worked without Bray. But now to see where we've gotten with this and everything, it's just I could not imagine any better tribute to Bray than what he's done. Bo has just absolutely I love that Michael Cole said that he knew that Bray Wyatt was looking down and smiling at what they accomplished tonight. And I could not agree more with that. This was absolutely perfect. You can't honor Bray any better than what they're doing.
Absolutely. I was gonna bring up what Cole said, because I thought it was so perfect. It was such a great way to tie a bow on it, for sure. Joe, biggest takeaway from the match, man.
The not just the wrestling that was impressive, but the tributes all throughout. When Rowan, I'm telling you, things. I've said this before on the show. I'm not a guy to cry at things easily, but that got me when he looked up at the sky and put his hands out like this and yelled, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," as loud as he could. I mean, my God, you heard him above the crowd. And when he did that, it was amazing.
Bo said it too at the very end when they were posing before it went off air.
Yeah, I mean, just all of it. And I'm sure that this was, I don't think this was a lot of writers being involved. I think this came from Bo. And I think it came from others' input. I think it came from Eric's input, all of them. And I mean, this scene afterwards, my God.
Yeah.
This is what happened when they went off the air. If you didn't see this, look at that. Pointing up to the sky, both of them. You know that's a dual point. That's Bray and to Brody.
Yeah.
That they were both doing that. And all of them. I mean, I'm sure they had tears. I'm sure they all did.
I'm sure that was incredibly emotional for all of them.
Oh, such an emotional moment. And then, of course, this, shared at the end. And like everybody said, they were watching. I know it. All of them were. Bray, Brody, Jodie as well. They all saw this. I know they did somehow, somewhere. And it was just amazing. I mean, look, we know it's going to continue, right? We know what we're getting. We're getting more. But if they just did this, I'd be okay with it because it was just done so well. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with the match, with how it went, with what they did. The bond, like James Chadwick is saying, motivated. I
love the way they interact with each other and stuff. It's so cool that they all have this bond because they were all forgotten and kicked to the curb and stuff. It's so cool that bonds them together now.
Yep. They all are each other's motivation in a way. And yeah, it's just such a well done thing. Kudos to Bo and everybody else who were thinking about this from the start. Obviously, Jason Baker with these incredible masks and stuff and all that he worked on with them. And it's just amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yes, it was. Absolutely tremendous. I know both of you talked about this a little bit earlier, but to drive the point home, do you think having this match, these moments on Raw last night was the right idea after all? We'll start with Joe.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Like I said, it was almost like it reminded me of that Raw. I mentioned this a while, sometimes when I came on the show with Jeff and Jody, but that one Raw that always sticks in my mind that Paul Heyman was in charge of. And it was so Bray-centric. The Funhouse was on, and then later at the end, they played that real creepy version of the Funhouse theme. I remember that very well. And that's really what this was. And the crazy thing is, you had all of these other storylines that everybody wanted answers for. the Rhea thing and Dom, the Seth and CM Punk and Drew, all of that got mixed in between. But, and that's what was kind of surprising to me, but they made this front and center. This was the show. They talked about it, the past parts that came back. They kept bringing it up. The announcers did a great job with it. They made this the central part of the show, which to me is incredible. And I didn't expect it. I didn't think so. I thought, yeah, the match will be here, but I figured it'd be kind of mid-card, like around the middle. I didn't think they're going to make it so centric on it and focus on it so much. And in that case, yes, they couldn't have done that at SummerSlam. They couldn't have. Without all those big, huge matches going on. And then also the return of Roman Reigns shadowed so much else. Yeah. And it would have overshadowed this too. So, yes, it was 100% the best decision they could have made. It was saving it. Yep.
Chris, man, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I was saying that before. Like, I know some people were. I still even saw people saying that they wish this would have been on SummerSlam. I don't get it. Like, after seeing something, SummerSlam was awesome. All those matches were great, but like they were mostly about title matches. It just didn't fit in there. Like it probably would have been shoved in the middle somewhere, and then would have had either a title match or like the CM Punk Drew match right after it or something. Like there's just, and then the Roman return. Like it would have gotten overshadowed so bad, and they don't deserve that. It just was such a better fit. Like you said, they crafted that whole Raw around them with the 11-year anniversary and everything, the promo for that, the Gacy videos, and that at the end. This was a Wyatt Sicks themed Raw, pretty much. And so they got such a better spotlight by waiting to do it on Raw and making it all about them instead of having it on SummerSlam. And I think that they will eventually have that kind of spotlight on a page. Point, but it was too soon for that. They just weren't there yet. Nothing wrong with that. It's still new, and I don't think a pay-per-view was the best place to have their first match. I'm sure they will get to that point, and that'll be awesome. But yeah, this just wasn't the right time. So I'm glad to see that they recognized that and did something, went a different way, and I think it was the absolute perfect way to go.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised, Jeff. I'd be surprised if we didn't get their first match at a very apropos named Bad Blood.
Yes. That's coming up. That's what I think.
I'd be very surprised if that didn't happen. So you know what's so cool about this? We're going to be able to see them coming to our towns and stuff. I literally, a Raw comes back up here, I will not miss it. I will get tickets to that Raw, and I may get front row tickets to that Raw, and I've never done that before, but I will now.
Do it. It's so worth it.
And our arena is pretty small. It only seats about 25,000 people. So I will, I definitely am going to look into it now because I always wanted to when Bray was around, and I'm so sad I didn't get to. But I for sure will now. And listen, guys, they know where their money. They know where their money is. They absolutely know where their money is, and I guarantee you, they probably sold a crap ton of merch. And are selling a crap ton of merch, and we're going to see a bunch more merch. We're going to see figures. We're going to see masks. We're going to see the whole 9 yards as soon as they get them out. So this is it's like I think Dreamer said it on his show today, saying like these guys aren't just watching wrestling. They're like seeing superheroes. Mm-hmm. They're like going to a show and seeing like a live action Darth Vader or Batman at a wrestling show. And he said when they have all the smoke there and all that kind of stuff that comes out, and then you're getting to watch it's like watching a horror movie up close. Mm-hmm. But yeah, nowhere to go but up. I think, man, nowhere to go but up.
So, Joe, you brought it up. My next question was, when do you think we'll see them in the ring again? Do you think it's Bad Blood, or do you think we see some more matches between now and then?
It's a great question. I think I'm wondering whether or not they're done with Gable's faction. That's the question I would ask first, because Gable may continue this and say, they blah blah blah, they took us by surprise. They had they cheated. They had more guys out there, or something like that a heel would do. If he continues in that way, then we may get a match again between them to kind of finish this off. Now, again, if that happens, Bad Blood would be a great place for it, and you can roll out the whatever you want. You want to bring in a cage? Have them go in a cage. You want to do something like that, a little out of the ordinary, that's where you do it. But, if it depends, I think, whether or not they're going to continue this feud with them. If that's over with and Gable's like, nope, I've had enough of that, I'm not doing anything with them anymore, and they move on, I still think that maybe the next match we might see from them might be at a pay-per-view.
Gotcha. Chris, man, what do you think?
I think there is a gigantic question mark now on what's next. We don't, like you said, we don't know if this feud between them and American Made is done or not. We don't know what, when they might wrestle again. We don't even know what we're going to see next week on Raw. The VHS tapes are done now, essentially. Yep. At least, we've gotten one from everybody now. So are we going to get more tapes, or what's coming next? Like, there's a massive question mark now. We've talked about it before. We never know what we're going to get week to week, but now we really don't, because we at least knew we were going to get VHS tapes of everybody and stuff. We have no clue what we're going to see on Raw, but I can't wait to see whatever it is.
Does anyone in chat know when the next pay-per-view is? Ron is asking, and I do not know right off the top of my head.
Bash in Berlin, August 31st.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I got to ask this. You guys just talked about what's next. Chris, which member of the group stood out the most to you last night?
Oh, by far Dexter. Just he seemed like he might be the workhorse that really does a lot of the wrestling, a lot of the high flying moves and stuff. So yeah, he definitely stood out to me. I've seen him wrestle a little bit in NXT and stuff, and obviously it's been quite a while since then. But I don't ever remember seeing him do anything like he did in the ring last night. That was awesome to see. That dude's got some talent.
Yeah, serious talent.
Yeah.
Joe, what about you, man?
Yeah, I would agree with that. He was very agile. He used to be kind of methodical when he wrestled. And it could have been that it was with his character and stuff like that. But you can see, he looks like he trimmed off some weight. Like he was kind of always he wasn't big, but he was kind of stocky. And but it looks like he trimmed down. And the agility that he showed, that surprised me. Yeah, that absolutely surprised me. But I want to, like I said, I mentioned it before. I want to shout out Rowan as well. Rowan showed me something. He really did. I didn't know what we were going to get from him, but he showed me something. He showed me some agility in there that I didn't necessarily expect to see.
Oh, and that choke slam he did, where he just grabbed his face and picked up the plan. I've never seen that before. That was awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that's Dexter is freaking awesome. I'm glad that folks are getting to see more of him and seeing him kind of evolve his move set is awesome. Ian saying Gacy stood out a mile, definitely going to be the one to watch. Bray watched him for a reason, and you can see why.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I love too how just for their first match, they look like they've been tag teaming for years. Like they were such a cohesive unit and worked together so well already for just their first match. A lot of times you put random people together and they don't necessarily click the greatest their first time out. Sometimes it takes time to build that. I didn't see that at all with them last night.
Yeah, Joe, what are your thoughts on that? Because that was another question I had, is just how cohesive they look.
I think they look like they've been wrestling for a while. I agree with Chris. you know, that, and I'm sure they were probably doing a lot in the performance center together, practicing a lot of this. And it certainly does look like that. It looks like that's the case. It definitely showed in the ring. It didn't look like that, you know, because look, we all know that all the Twitterites out there would call out any little mistake that they showed or anything like that, or any, you know, any little thing. And there was no mention of it. So yeah, I agree. I think it's I think they were great.
Yeah, I mean they were. I mean it was awesome to see them work so well together, and you can definitely tell they've spent a lot of time around one another to be able to work off of each other like that. Heather's asking from a technical standpoint, wonder who actually produced the match. I don't know. I'd love to know.
Yeah.
Normally I don't look at stuff like that, but when you get a group that worked that well together in a debut, like you mentioned, both of you mentioned, that was pretty impressive. So, Alicia with the question here, how would you feel if they did an AI video of Bray to complete the videos?
I honestly would not be a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
I really like that it's the way they're doing it with like representing the lantern, you know, representing Bray, and like how they had it sitting in his chair last night and then carried it to the ring and the way Bo held it and stuff. I really like the stuff that they're doing in that way. I don't feel like it needs that or would benefit from doing anything like that. I think it's better to just leave it how they're doing it when it comes to Bray.
What about you, Joe? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm iffy about that kind of stuff. I know they can do it. I've seen it. You know, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I know that they did that with Luke Skywalker. They had Mark Hamill do the voice, and they de-aged him. I know they can do it, but I think there's a time and a place for all that. And I think for all of them, and for everything that Bo was doing, I think it would have been too much. And I think he would have. I don't think he would have allowed it anyway. I think if they approached him to do that, I kind of think he would have said no. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe somewhere down the road, and 5 years, 10 years from now, maybe somewhere down the road, it might be something to think about.
Yeah, maybe after more time has passed.
Yeah,
the passing of it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think a compromise to an idea like that, and I want both of you to let me know what you think of this idea. What if they just clip together old audio and they didn't show anything on a video, but the camera was just on the rocking chair with the lantern in the rocking chair? And it's just an old audio clip of him just splicing together different things he said about family and that. What are your thoughts on that? And we'll start with Joe on this one.
Had they come out and, like, let's say got the chair to rock and then played He's Got the Whole World in His Hands of him singing, I would have been okay with that. I would have been all right with that. Because it's like the ghost, right? It's like his ghost was there. And I'm okay with that. I'd be all right with that. Just a voice. I would have been okay with just a voice. It would. But I don't. That said, I don't think it would have been necessary because I think everything they did was fine. Bringing the chair up, bringing the lantern. That's him. That's him. Every time they bring that out, he's there. That's exactly what that's representing. He's there. And the light comes out, and just like he did, just like he carried it out all those times, and then sat by and blew out the lantern and said, "We're here," and sat on the chair. That's him, and that's how they're representing him, so.
Chris, what about you, man? What do you think about something like that?
I think that could be cool. I think that there could be a way that they could do something cool with that. And to me, that's not far off from showing an old Bray promo, which obviously I have no problem with that. I love to see that still.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that it would be cool if Bo could work that in and did something like that to pay tribute. I think that could definitely be done right. You know, using his actual audio and things that he actually said. Yeah.
No, my thing is this. I think at this point, the folks involved have earned our trust.
Mm-hmm.
That they'll do this well. They'll do it with intention and with planning, because this stuff doesn't happen without all of that. What have they earned your trust, Chris?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can't honestly think of a single thing that I would have that wish they'd done differently or that I would have changed if I was booking it or anything. I just, it's better than I ever imagined it in my head. Everything they've done is better than I could have possibly imagined this going now. Like I talked about earlier, like I wasn't sure about this without how could you do all this without Bray? Can it work? And boy, it can.
Yep. Yeah. Joe, have they earned your trust?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they haven't done anything for me not to. From the time we first saw them in the back to all the videos to all of this, I think it's being handled 100% perfectly well. I'm guessing Rob Fee is behind a lot of it. And if that's the case, yeah, I mean, he did the whole lead up to it very well, right? The whole campaign leading up to it, from the song in the arenas to all the clues to all that kind of stuff was all done extremely well. You know, there was a little like a time when Bo showed up live on Raw. I started to think to myself, okay, this is a little weird. Like, why would he be there like himself? But even that was explained and was handled extremely well. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I do believe that if you're looking for this, and this is why I know that there are so many people out there, so many who are huge fans of Alexa. But this is why I feel that Alexa will not be in this group. Yep. Because Alexa was going a little over the top, and who knows? This could have been a combination of Alexa and writing, so I'm not going to blame her. But I think she was going a little over the top with the supernatural stuff, the throwing the fire at Randy Orton. That's when it gets a little crazy, and that's in that respect. I don't see Alexa fitting in with, like, could you see yourself thinking that Alexa would have joined up with the old Wyatt family? I don't think so. So, and that's why I think they're going to I think that Alexa will come back. I think she'll be a target, no doubt. I think she'll be a target for Nikki, and that'll be great because they have had battles in the past. Yeah. And Nikki has grudges against her, so that'll be fantastic. I think she'll be a target. But I do not think she fits with this group. And I think that's the reason why. I don't think they're going to go extremely supernatural with this. I think they're going to keep that on the lighter side. Keep it in the imagination with Howdy and with Abby. Of course. Oh, that's it. Michael Cole definitely said it again last night. Sister Abigail, he called her again last night, and that was not muted out. So yeah. But I think we have no reason not to trust what they're doing, and I think it's only going to get better going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to see that. Like, I know a lot of people are still talking about that. Like, imagine if Alexa was in this group right now. That'd be all anybody would be talking about. You know, I don't want to see these guys. These guys don't deserve that. They don't deserve to get overshadowed by her. I mean, no offense against Alexa or anything. It doesn't. You know, it's like making a recipe or something, and you just like, well, this might be good in it. This might be good, and you can get too much in it if you like this. It's great how it is. I want to see it play out like this. You know, there's no reason to just dump more stuff onto it when it's working fantastic as it is.
Yeah, Chris, that's a great point too, because you know what? Not only will she'll overshadow them, she'll overshadow poor Nikki. And then what? And then what? What does Nikki do?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden Nikki's not.
And the whole point of this is these people were overshadowed already.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Now Nikki's not the. Yep.
As Deanna said, the misfits deserve their time to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'll be a target for sure.
Yeah, me too.
And maybe down the line, a long ways away, maybe there's something. Same with Braun, because I know people bring him up too. I just don't think right now is the time to do it. What we've gotten so far, and Deanna brought up another point up here. She said it's been just the right amount of everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think is a really, really good point. All right, so we're gonna kind of wrap up the show here, but I want to get final thoughts from Joe and Chris just on their overall thoughts of everything that we got on Raw and what they think we get next. So we'll start with Joe, and we'll hand it off to Chris, and he'll wrap us up.
Oh man, just sit back and enjoy the ride, guys. Sit back and enjoy the ride. You're gonna see, because everybody's always looking for information. We all want them spoilers. We all want that backstage stuff. You're gonna see, like someone mentioned, who was producing. You'll find that out. It'll be out there in a day or two, probably. They always announce who produces the matches. But just enjoy it for what it is. It's going to be a ride. Let them take us on the ride. Don't concern yourself with who's not with it right now, or just enjoy the ride for what it is. I think a lot of times as wrestling fans, we that's why the Roman thing with the bloodline was such an anomaly. As wrestling fans, we want everything to happen so fast. We want it done right away. But don't wish it to be done. Don't wish it to always be going forward so fast. Because again, guys, we had no guarantee that we were ever going to have anything like this again. No guarantee. We didn't know that this was going to happen. So enjoy the ride. Sit back. Let the writers and the creators take you where they're going to take you, and just enjoy every minute of it.
All right, Chris, man, what are your final thoughts, man?
What a night is what thing I kept saying to myself last night. Like, what a night. That reminded me so much. Like, I haven't felt that way since like Bray's return at Extreme Rules, and then the SmackDown after where he came out and gave that one emotional promo was just him. Like, that's what this night reminded me of. Like, this was right up there in the Bray Wyatt story and legacy. Just what an incredible night.
Indeed it was. It was an awesome night. And I think going back to the whole trust thing, they've done this so incredibly well that it's really difficult to poke holes in it unless, and I think the folks that do, and it's not for everyone, we get that, but the folks that do, you're really looking for the thing that you don't like. And that's fine, but let's be fair about it. I think they've done really well with this, and I can't wait to see what's next. And I'm not going to be looking up spoilers. I'm not going to try and figure out anything. I just want them to take me on that ride that Joe mentioned, because I think it's going to be a good one. I really, really do. Well, folks, I think that. Go ahead.
A couple people said this, and I just want to echo it myself too. That the only thing that could have made last night any better was if they could have seen Jodie's reaction to it. And I just kept thinking that while I was watching it, how much I wish that she would have been there with me to watch it and to see this show tonight. And everybody would have loved to hear her thoughts on it and everything, because I know she would have had so much to say.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. She would have been over the moon about it. This whole everything leading up to it, and including last night, she would have been so happy about it. And but I do believe that she's got a seat with the other guy that's involved in this in spirit. So so I know it's still not easy, but just that thought makes me smile some, that she's up there and watching this and smiling and enjoying it. And it was a very emotional Raw, and not too often do you see dominant wrestling performances that you're like tying to emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But this was one of them. Yeah. This was one that you could feel the emotion, you could see it, you could hear it through the tributes, through the moves, through everything. You could just feel
the crowd
it.
too. The crowd was so into it.
Oh man. They were so into it. So into it. They loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I know all of us did too. So man, this was another fun episode. Glad you could all be here to have this discussion with us about an incredible night, an incredible debut. We greatly appreciate you all being here. RK Shuttleworth saying, glad I could be in one of these streams for a change. We're glad you're here. RK joining us from Twitch. So glad you're here. Shout out to everyone that's still here. We got over 80 people still here. James saying, this is awesome. Chant straight after the entrance. That is so rare. Yeah. Let you know what the fans think.
I'm jealous of those fans there last night. They got to see something special.
Oh, I know, man. Man, that was special. Really special. I feel like ending the show with this picture is kind of fitting, right?
Oh yeah, very
yes, sir.
But we want to thank all of you so much for being here with us this evening. We will be back on Thursday for a little bit of TNA wrestling. So things are heating up. And listen, can't skip ahead to Thursday because tonight is NXT. And who knows who can show up. Barry Monkey's in the house too. What's up, Barry Monkey? From Twitch. Who knows who's gonna show up on NXT? So there are a lot of things out there swirling around, so we'll see. But if that does happen, I'm gonna be you'll probably all hear me from here in New York. So with a little bit of voice that I have left. So but thank you all so much for being here with us this evening. We greatly appreciate it. Appreciate the discussion in the chat. And thank you all for joining us. If you don't mind, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new. And if we don't see you on Thursday or Sunday, Joe, I'm going to put that into the universe. Sunday.
Yeah, it's been a while. There you go.
Sunday. If you don't see us Thursday or Sunday, we'll see you again next Tuesday here on Fireflies Forever. Thank you for joining, everyone. Have a good evening.